Hey everybody, this is Andy from Team Ryan Frank. On today's edition of Ryan Frank's Daily Fuel Injection, Ryan's going to be talking about the issue of our kids and screen time. We hope you enjoy it. Is screen time a bad thing for kids?
You stop and think about it, between the TV and the iPad and their phone and whatever game system they like playing after school or on the weekends, and they're on their laptops, and they're on those screens in the car, they're on those screens at home, they're on those screens during their downtime, and so it's a reality that we live in. Some would say that it's a bad thing. I would almost say that it can be a very positive thing. I think a lot of people have turned these digital devices and screen time into an evil or something that really has got to be addressed. And I think it's a good conversation to have, but boy, these screens and what they represent are actually quite powerful, and it's the world that these kids are growing up in. So I think instead of demonizing it, instead of oh boy, what do we do to safeguard these kids? And that becomes our main focus. I really think we can turn the conversation around, and I know we'll do some of that in our call today, around how can we really teach kids to leverage this screen time and leverage this technology to be better kids, to make more of a difference in their world, in their school, and in their future, ultimately.
How can we help parents to handle the screen time issue?
It all starts with empathy. We are way too judgmental, and I think in our digital world we live in, it is so easy to judge people, and without understanding the context, and we can spout things off on Facebook or Instagram and just be judgmental, where really as pastors, as ministry leaders, our best play and our best position is when we are empathetic. So now, if you're a parent and you're a children's ministry leader, you're in good spot because you're living in that world. So it's going to be very easy for you to be empathetic. If you're a grandparent or you're single, or you've got kids that are not at that age yet, you're going to have to grow up being empathetic and putting yourself in the shoes of those parents. And hey, what are these parents working with? What are they dealing with from the time they wake up in the morning? And literally, I think it's good as a parent or as a pastor ministry leader, put yourself in the shoes of those parents that you serve. Literally and I literally tell pastors to do this, like literally write down, like think about the life of one of the parents in your ministry, from the alarm clock goes off in the morning all the way until they go back to bed that night. And so you're gonna alarm clock goes off, push snooze, get up, brush my teeth, take a shower, get clothes on, get the kids woke up, get their breakfast, get their backpacks ready, get them on the bus, send them to school, go home, and do that through the whole day. All of a sudden, you will become a lot more empathetic, which will not only revolutionize the way you minister to kids or families in the area of what we're talking about today, screen time, but really in every area of your life. So I would put myself in the shoes of those parents and then think through, okay, how can I resource mom and dad? How can I resource them? Now, the challenge is we overthink it way too much. And we feel like we got to have all of this training, and we have to have all of these systems and programs and all of these curriculums, and we've got to be ready to answer every question. And in trying to overthink it, we end up stepping over a lot of ministry opportunities along the way. So how I would resource parents is I would start by just empathetically putting myself in their shoes and then looking, okay, what can we do to best serve them, especially when it comes to this area, or as it relates to this conversation of kids in front of their screens. Now, you're going to best figure out a way, Jane, how to serve the parents if you don't make all these calls on your own. So I would put together a team of leaders. I would put together a couple parents in the room, and hey, what do we feel like we can do to help mom and dad. Maybe we need to have some classes, and I know we'll get into some more of the practical stuff in a little bit, but maybe we need to have some classes for the kids. Maybe we need to have some classes for the parents. Maybe we need to provide some activities for the kids, some things for the families. Maybe we need to be recommending to the parents and the kids what apps to be using, what YouTube channels to be going to. But it all starts on the foundation of empathy.
As a leader, how do I approach parents about this subject?
I think a lot of it is, if you're really empathetic, which by the way I think is great. I think that's kind of one of my words for 2019 is empathy. When it comes to my business, when it comes to my ministry, whether I'm working with kids, whether I'm working with parents, whether I'm working with senior adults, if I can genuinely be empathetic, I think it will revolutionize the way that I not only work with people, but how I serve them. And in doing so, I don't think you're going to have any problem with parents feeling judgmental if you are authentic, if you are credible, if you are present. And so let's park on those three words for a minute. Authentic. Okay, you've got to be authentic. It's got to be real. It's got to come from the heart. Hey, I don't have it all together. I am not looking down on you. I get the battle. I deal with it myself. So I'm authentic. Then I'm credible. Now, credibility is built with time, but the more credible I am with people, which again takes time, it takes building relationships, the more they're going to listen, and the more respect they're going to give me, and the more they're going to connect with me. And then I've got to be present. So I can be as authentic as I want to be. I can be as credible as I want to be. But if the parents never see me, or I'm never talking to them, it's not going to do very much good. So I would look at, hey, where are my parents? Where are the kids? Here's what we know. We know that they are spending a ton of time on their devices, on their screens, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I think it can be a good thing. But parents do need help. There are felt needs like, hey, how do I set boundaries? How much time should I allow my kids to be on the screen? What should I let them do? What shouldn't I let them do? Should I let them text with friends? Should I let them Snapchat? Should I let them play these games? And so that's where I would put together a team of people in my church, some parents, some leaders. Let's talk through the issue. Don't approach it as I've got all the answers, right? Approach it as I'm learning too. I want to help. I've got you in the room. Let's wrestle through this together. And then, from those meetings, you're going to get practical things that we can do. Hey, maybe we can do some classes where we teach kids how to actually create hobbies outside of screens. Hey, maybe we can help parents put some best practices in place, like the screens go off at 8 p.m. Or, if you've got little kids and they're 2 and 3 years old, out of sight, out of mind. Maybe we need to hide those devices certain hours of the day. I think it all happens around a context of being authentic, around being credible, and then just being present in their life and in the lives of these families and parents. People will respect that. They'll listen to you. But the minute you think you got all figured out and you go to them with your 10 points on how we've got it figured out, I've got it figured out, and there's no context of relationships, there's no context of empathy, then there's going to be a disconnect.
As parents, what's the best way to handle the screen time issue with our own kids?
As we think about screen time with our kids, what are we modeling? If I am living in front of my phone 24/7 at the dinner table, driving down the road, which I hope you're not on your screen when you're driving down the road, if I'm on my phone at church, if I'm on my phone all the time, get this, my kids are going to want to do it too. So I've got to make sure, now if I'm okay with that, then that's fine. And I don't want to judge you. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, what the rights and wrongs are. But kids are great. Listen, they don't always do what we say, but they are really, really good at modeling what they see. And so if they see us in front of my screen all the time, which is one reason our family, Beth and I have decided that, when we read our Bible at home, we're going to actually, for the most part, try to read our Bible, because we might be reading our Bible on our phone, but as far as our kids know, we're on Facebook or Instagram. So now I'm not telling you can't read your Bible on your phone, right? Because everybody's got to decide what they're doing. But we kind of decided we actually want our kids to see us reading our Bible for what that's worth. So kids don't always listen, but they are great modeling.